Valentine's Day projects. And since that's this week, I thought I'd show you a couple of them. Oh, sorry, it's next week, isn't it? It's next week. Okay. Today happens to be Heart Health Day as well, and I was challenged to wear red. So it goes with Valentine's Day and with heart health. So probably you could adapt these cards and projects to suit anyone that you wanted to wish all the best with hearts. So I'm going to show you what I've made, and we will make a card together and a little banner. Okay, so I'm just going to flip you over. Please forgive me if I'm a bit awkward with this. I just have basic equipment and I can't see that I've gone live on my page. So I'm not always going to be able to see what I'm showing you. I hope it actually works well. Let's try. I wanted to use the front of my camera. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm going to flip you around again because I can actually do this by flipping the camera. All right, so I will be able to see a little bit of what I am doing. That's probably too... Let's just make sure it's on the work surface. Pretty much. I think it will be. Let's just see. Yeah, I'll try and stay in the middle there so I can show you what I'm doing. Please do comment and let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to know who's watching and if you ever actually do anything for Valentine's Day. Some of us do and some of us don't. What I often find is I make one little card and not a lot else. But here's the first project. It's a little box. Now, if you've ever made a box before, it's just a basic little box that I've put together. Thanks to my friend Sharon, who showed me hers. And then it's really the decorations that I wanted to show you there. I've just used some designer series paper and some cutouts from a kit that I had, and some that's a sequin from the kit as well. And then I just cut a little strip of paper and made a heart. Now I'm going to show you how to make these little hearts when I show you the banner. But how cute is that? You could fit a few chocolates in there. You could fit in a new keychain for your husband or your boyfriend or just anyone that you normally give nice little things to. I've made a couple of them. And you could also use them for Galentine's Day. Who's heard of Galentine's Day? Because Galentine's Day is something that celebrates friendship between women. And that's the day after Valentine's Day, I believe. So if you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, you might like to make a few Galentine's Day projects. Again, this one is just a little plain box, and you can decorate it by putting strips of ribbon across so they stay nice and flat on top, and add a few stickers that you might have from kits or punches and punched shapes or die cuts that you want to use up. Little flower, little leaf, and a heart. Okay, that's project one. This one's a little bit more complicated. I actually used a template from another crafter to make this triangular box shape, but the box wouldn't stay together without a sleeve. So I've made this sleeve, and instead of folding over the sleeve part, I've let it stay up and decorated it with a heart, a couple of hearts. I've got my heart punches from years ago, and I use them at play times like this. So then this is a 6x6 piece of designer series paper, which turns into an explosion box. And I've got a lot of Mentos in there. My husband doesn't know about this one yet, so shh, don't tell him. Okay. And they're just little chewy mints that both of us seem to like. So once you fold it up into its shape, it fits in the sleeve like that. So I wasn't going to teach you how to make that one today. if someone wants to know how, say something in the comments and I may consider making another video. Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to do the hearts next, and then we'll do the card. You may have seen these on the internet. I've seen them a few times this year again. It's a way of making a banner out of strips of paper. So this is perfect if you've got lots of strips of paper in your stash, and you'll find they don't even have to be the same width or the same length. You can change colors to make this little banner. I've made mine with Flirty Flamingo, Real Red, and Smoky Slate, and this one. And this is made out of designer series paper. And then I've cut them smaller and made myself a really tiny one with 3-inch, I think they were 6-inch strips, sorry, not 3-inch strips. 3-inch long strips. So I'll just show you how to cut and create the little hearts. I found a piece of designer series paper that I liked from a retired pack, and I brought out my trimmer, and all I'm going to do is I've stuck to 1 centimeter wide, which is about 1/2 inch for Imperial Crafters, and just cut myself some strips. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is 12 by 12 paper. So what I've done before I started cutting the strips is measured 6 inches or 15.2 centimeters and just scored a line in the middle, because you'll need a line in the middle, and you might as well do it before you cut all your strips. It just saves time and effort and makes it more accurate. Okay, so then I'm just going to cut, I only need 1 really to show you. I might just do 2 so that you can see how it's done. All right, I'm putting that away for the moment and taking out my trimmer and bringing back my banner. And for this project, you'll also need a little stapler. You can use a big stapler, but I happen to like this little one. It's about a size 10 staple, and it was from Stampin' Up years ago. I've just kept it. It's been so handy, and it's a little narrow neck, so you can get in and staple places that big staplers have hard time handling. So you'll see I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half hearts, and I wanted it to be shown that way because you can see I've put, probably you can see, you may be able to see, I've put the folded piece down into the middle of the next heart. So what I mean by that is you take your strip of paper and it's got the score line, so you just fold it in half, and it doesn't have to be perfectly in half, but it's probably more even if it is. That's why I scored where I did. And just press it down with your bone folder or the back of a spoon. The next step, you do need your bone folder or something to curl it with, so you want to encourage it to go in the shape of a heart, like that. So it's already starting to form the heart. This one needs to be done that way too, so I will just do that. Now I'm going to take the folded end of my heart, the point of my heart, and I'm going to line it up with the center of the other heart. Okay, the one that I've been already half made. But all you do when you start off, you just start off with one heart like this and then create another one and add it in. So it's not difficult. Anyway, I will show you what I mean here. I'm just lining those up more or less, and I'm stapling them shut. Okay, so then I have my next heart done, and I'm ready for receiving another heart. So we'll just do it again so you can see what I've done. So this one is getting folded in half again. You don't even need to score it really. You can just fold your designer series paper in half and press it, and then use something to encourage it to go towards the middle like a heart. Take your pointy end, line it up with your last heart in the middle so that those ends are all together. Can you see that? I've kind of put them all together. So there's the folded piece in the middle and the two pieces that meet from the last heart, and I've just sandwiched them together and I'm stapling them so they stay there. And the next heart is formed. So then to finish your hearts, you just staple these two ones together. But if you want to join the ends, what you do, so this one might be long enough just to put as out on a table setting, or as a banner across your kitchen cabinets or something like that. If you wanted to have morning tea with some people and have people over for dinner, or you just want a hubby to know how special he is at night with the evening meal, just stick that on the table with your special meal. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make a circle of these hearts. I've made a whole lot of little ones here, and I just cut my 12 by 12 in half into a 6 by 6 piece and scored it at 3 inches, or whatever 3 inches is in it's about 7.1 centimeters, and then cut it into 1 centimeter strips or 1/2 inch strips. Okay, so I've left my last heart open like this, and all I'm going to do is bring the ends of my heart, the first heart I made is here, see? So I'm just going to add it in to make it a circle by joining them together the same way as I've made all my other hearts. Now I showed you the bigger pieces because it's a little easier to see what I'm doing. These ones are a little bit more fiddly, and as long as your hands still work the way they should, mine often give me trouble with arthritis these days, then you shouldn't have trouble with making little hearts. And suddenly you've got a little circle banner as well. So have a look in your stash and see whether or not you've got something that reminds you of Valentine's Day, and use designer series paper or cardstock to create a Valentine's banner in all different sizes. This one I actually didn't make all the hearts the same size or the same width. It's very flexible. It's a lot of fun. You could stamp the edges of this if you wanted to before you put the strips together. You could add in some pretty doilies along the way, you know, intersperse the hearts with doilies. You could just make it a lot fancier. I actually like this one because I used the sparkly gold foiled paper that I had in my stash. And because it's designer series paper, it has a pattern on the inside too. And I like this one because it's got 2 different designs, pink and pale orange color. So I really thought that was quite a cute one. Okay, so that's an idea for home decor, paper craft, and just hunt through your stash and see what you've already got. But if you need some hearts and flower type of decorations, do have a look at my shopping site at Susan Salutations, and Stampin' Up has a number of beautiful Valentine's Day projects and supplies in my shop. So if you need anything, you can check it out there. Okay, now the last thing I want to show you is my card. Now again, this is a secret. Hubby doesn't know I've made this yet, but it's just a Happy Valentine's Day card with some designer series paper and a masking technique on the front. And I've used a few die cuts that I had, and a sentiment and some bling, and that's it. But inside I've also made it with designer series paper and with punched heart shapes. So I can write down here, I can write up here, but I've also done some more masking inside. Okay. So how I made this card, I've made this one, the next one, a little bit differently. I'm not going to embellish it quite as much, but it might turn out a little bit more embellished than I think. I've just started with a normal size card base. In Australia, you cut half an A4 sheet in half, score it down the middle, and burnish that down with your bone folder, the fold. This, I like to iron it on both sides actually, because it makes it lay flatter. Okay, and this card is going to have a few things going on with it, so I wanted to make sure it's folded nicely. So I'm just putting that one aside for the moment. I've got a mat here, and I don't need it yet, but it will fit on the front of the card. So I just make my mats 1/2 centimeter smaller all around. You can make yours about, I think it's 1/4 of an inch or up to, yeah, about 1/4 of an inch shorter, top and bottom or side. And just make everything 1/4 of an inch smaller than your card base, or 1/2 centimeter. Okay, then I've got some designer series paper from a pack that I loved, but it had, the way I chose this was I chose a pale side, right, and I cut it to fit my mat, again 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 centimeter smaller, like that. And then I just eyeballed it, and I did about 1/3. I cut it about out of the 3rd point, and that way I can flip this over to show a pretty side. Okay, but for the moment we're going to work with this paler piece. And what I've done here is I've used my old paper punch. Everybody has basic heart shapes usually in their stash, and I've cut out a heart from a piece of cardstock. And I've used another small punch like this one that I've had in my stash for a long time too. You may have a die cut that you can use, or you could just draw your heart and cut it out so that you've got something like this as a mask. Okay, so now I'm going to add some hearts to my card front like I did here, see, with the Timid Tiger I used on this one. Okay, ink. Now I'm going to bring in Fresh Freesia ink, and I'm going to bring in a stamping block, because this way I won't be harming my ink pads. I'm going to put some ink on my ink pad. I've got my blending tool here that I use only for shades of purple. That way I don't have to wash them out. You can wash these out with a mild dish soap or baby shampoo or something like that. Even just sunlight soap in Australia, just pure soap, I've used just a little bit, and just that color usually comes right out, and there may be a shadow of it left at the end, but as long as you let your brushes dry, and I usually dry them face down on an old craft towel, then you can start again with the color. So you don't have to have individual brushes for individual color tones, but I like to, because I run classes, and I like to make sure that I've got the obvious one for certain colors, obvious brush to use, because then the colors don't get mixed together on the brush. So if I went straight to black with this, it would be very muddy look the next time I went to a light purple. So I like to just keep all the same color hues on the one brush. Okay, so I've just got some ink on my block, and I will probably use that again in a minute. So I'm just going to pick the ink up from the block, and I have positioned this heart basically where I want it. I'm going to just sort of hold it where that little heart is so I don't go over it, and I'm just going to work in some color in that space where the heart was, being careful not to move the heart. I'll just separate my fingers a bit there so that I can get down to the bottom, pick up a bit more ink, and just shade it. And it doesn't look really different. Well, you may think you're not actually putting a lot of ink on the card, But when you lift this off, I promise you'll see a difference. This is called a masking technique. There's a heart. So it's quite easy to do that. I'm going to add another one here, and I'm going to let them overlap because then you get more tones of ink. Just grab a bit more ink, more shades of this same tone. It's hard to rub things when you've only got one hand and you're holding the other one down. Using the other hand to hold the mask down. Okay, and you can just keep going until it's as dark as you want it to be. And you can see, because I've laid that ink down on the other side already, this layer has made that side go a bit darker. And now I have overlapping hearts. And if I'm not happy with it, like I want a little bit more on that point, I can go back in, just carefully line it up and go back in. I'm being careful not to go outside my mask so that I don't have a shadow of color laid down on the card. But there it goes. Now I could use a different color purple to make some little hearts. Let's just clean this one off and go. See, that was Petunia Pop. That's a retiring color. Oh, sorry, this is Fresh Freesia. So I might use Petunia Pop, slightly darker. No, it's a little bit lighter. I'm telling lies. Anyway, it's a different tone. And we'll just use it this time. I can put that ink straight on the clean stamping block. And because it's also purple, I don't need to change my blending brush. But this time I'm just going to try and add a few little hearts in that other color. Again, I'm just going to mask off where I don't want the ink. It's a little bit difficult with a small heart in a corner. It'd be better to give yourself more room with your template. You might see how you're not to do it this way. But it's going to be darker. There we go. That's a bit darker. There we are. And I could maybe put one right in the middle here of my already blended piece. Just another piece of scrap here. I'm just going to block that off instead of using my fingers this time. So then I can get into that little heart a bit better without just inking my fingers up. There we go. Yes, always give yourself a little bit more room than Susan has to make a mask. But it does work. If you're just very careful and just take your time, you can get the result that you'd like, or something that's interesting anyway. There we go. I think 3 little hearts might be enough. And see how I have gone outside the area there, and of my mask, so I've actually created a bit of a mess there. So we might just fix it. A mistake is only another opportunity for embellishment, after all. That's one of my favorite things to say. If you've been in my classes and with me on my team very long, you'll know that's what I say quite often when I make mistakes. I'm just going to lengthen my heart a little bit and add a little bit. It looks a bit more like there's one in the background that way. There we are. So I've got a double heart there now. I made some more. Okay, we'll just fix that one too. Made more of a mess. I'm just going to go over it lightly this time. Now we have a cloud of hearts. There, that's all right. Still worked out. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to add some more things to my card, so I'll just clean that ink off so I don't wind up getting it on my craft desk. Now we'll bring back in our other pieces, our top pieces. I always do the top of my card first so that if I make a mess, I can always create another top without gluing it to my base too soon before it's ready. And plus I want, on this time, I want to use some ribbon and I want to wrap it around my base. So I'm just going to glue this one down. Oh, pretty paper that I'm covering up. Who remembers this paper? I'm just going to add that to there, make it as even as I can. Sometimes it's good to have a clean rag here just to press it down so that you're not smudging anything or adding extra ink from your fingers. And now I will put this piece on as well. And the beauty of this is if I've a little bit crooked, I can correct it here because I can just overlap these pieces if I want to make a slightly bigger border on one side, or just to even it up. But I don't seem to need to do that. I seem to have done that pretty straight. So junior pop ribbon that I'm going to tie around the middle of this. Actually, I'm not going to tie it around. I'm going to make it flat. So I might just put that down a little bit, because see, I left some of the designer series paper on this card showing, and I kind of liked that, so I will just do that again. I think this time I'll use my tear and tape to anchor the ribbon down on the back. It's called tear and tape because you just tear a piece off. You don't need scissors. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the back here. About the right, let's see, is that the right level? Want it to be about there. Okay. Let's go back to the front to make sure the ribbon is straight before I anchor it. Yeah, I might have got that tear and tape a little bit too far down, but I think I can wrap my ribbon and still catch that tape in the back. Yes. Okay, so that's done. I have a little piece here that I wanted to tie on. I'm just going to tie it in a knot. There we are. One single knot. It doesn't have to be too tight, but it looks quite complete when you've got a nice little knot there. I'm just going to trim the ends at an angle because it stops the ribbon fraying, and it just neatens it all up. If you want it to fray, encourage it to fray a little bit more, and you'll get a different look again with your ribbon frayed. Okay, then I have a little sentiment I stamped here, and I think I might just anchor that knot down. This is how I keep it in place, with a glue dot. I'll put it underneath that knot so it stays level and in place. Yeah. Okay, now I want to pop my sentiment up, so I'm going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I've got the outside. I'm working on the outside of this one because I've used all the little hexagons up, but the beauty of the borders is you get twice as much dimensional in the end, and you can cut them to shape, so within their size limits you can cut them so that they fit your project better. So I'm just popping 3 on there. They don't have to be even, they don't have to be in a line because they're just going to hold up that sentiment, and I want it to sort of bump up against the ribbon. So I'm putting it right up next to the ribbon, and I'm going to put that knot just slightly over the end. Okay, now this card I think still needs a couple more hearts, So I've punched out a few white ones this time. Instead of using die cuts, I've just punched a few more of these little hearts out. And I think I might just add a few like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. You must need 5. Yes. Okay. So I'll just add in my hearts just to make it a little bit different again. I think my son and his wife and my granddaughter are here now. I might have to go a bit sooner than I wanted to. They've just come to visit us from out the west. And I love seeing my granddaughter. She's only 3. Well, she will be 3 next month. Oh, sorry, she's 3 already. She will be 4 next month. Well, this way I can actually cover up some of my little mistakes. Yeah, I'm putting it on the darker parts of the card because the white shows better that way. I might want one more. What do you think? Am I overdoing it? You can never overdo it with hearts on Valentine's Day. There we go. All right, and then it's going to go onto the card. It's better put the cap on the glue, otherwise I'll be sorry, and lean on it or something. I just need the glue back again. Okay, so we're going to finish the card off, the front off. And I might have to show you the inside another day, but you get the idea. You just line your card with inside with designer series paper, just like I did with this one. You've already seen the technique of masking. So I've just masked some, punched some out, put some extra die cuts in. I've cut a couple of more hearts and popped them up, but I've put these right on the fold and folded them in half and just popped them up. So when you open the card, the hearts open up too. Okay, so you can see how I've done that. You could take a screenshot of that if you want to try to make it with your own supplies. So I'm holding it open just for a couple of seconds longer so that you can do that. And otherwise, let's just bring in all the projects I showed you today. I'll just put my glue out of the way first. And these are the cards. That's the cards I was showing you. There's a little Valentine's triangular box, a couple of little boxes that you could put treats in, and then of course you've got the banners galore. So I've got 3 different banners here. Do you think I've got enough hearts for Valentine's Day now? Okay, let me just bring you back to me and I'll say bye-bye. Switch the camera back. How about that? I switched the camera back. Okay, well, thank you for watching with me today and crafting with me, and I hope to see you again soon on here. I'll try to go live a bit more in 2026 and show you what is on my craft table. Okay, I appreciate you coming along today. Please like and share the video with your friends if you liked it. And I'd love to hear from you if I can help you with anything Stampin' Up. Okay, and oh, I'm in Australia, by the way, but I'll talk to anyone in the world as long as we can understand each other. Okay, bye for now.